Cultural hegemony, a concept developed by the Italian Marxist theorist Antonio Gramsci in the early 20th century, refers to the dominance of a particular cultural, ideological, or social worldview that influences and maintains the power structures in society. It explains how the ruling class achieves and sustains control over the people, not just through economic or political means, but through the manipulation of culture, media, education, and social norms. The idea of cultural hegemony is helpful for understanding how systems of oppression are maintained in ways that go beyond direct coercion. Anarchism, as a political and philosophical stance, advocates for the abolition of all forms of hierarchical authority, whether it's the state, capitalism, or social norms that divide individuals and communities into ruling and ruled classes. We anarchists argue that authority is inherently oppressive, and cultural hegemony is a key mechanism that legitimizes and sustains the oppression. While Gramsci's theory was formulated primarily in the context of Marxist analysis, it has been influential for anarchist critiques of power. Cultural hegemony is the means through which dominant ideologies and norms shape people's perceptions, desires, and ways of thinking. The ruling class does not need to rely solely on violence or legal control. It can also manipulate social and cultural institutions to ensure that its dominance appears natural, inevitable, and even desirable. By shaping public consciousness, those in power can secure passive consent from the people who might otherwise resist direct forms of coercion. We anarchists emphasize the role of cultural institutions in perpetuating the status quo. Schools, the media, churches, and even popular culture play a significant role in embedding the values and ideologies of the ruling class into everyday life. Education, for example, is not just about transmitting knowledge, it's about instilling a particular worldview that justifies existing power structures. The curriculum taught in schools often presents history, economics, and society in ways that naturalize the dominance of capitalism, the state, and social hierarchies. Instead of fostering critical thinking and self-determination, the education system often teaches individuals to accept their position within a system that really benefits only a few. Similarly, the media serves as a powerful tool for disseminating dominant cultural narratives. News outlets, entertainment, advertising, and social media shape how people view the world, often presenting the status quo as the only viable reality and also offering fake alternatives. We anarchists argue that the corporate controlled media system in particular is a key component of cultural hegemony, as it serves the interests of powerful elites by framing social issues in ways that distract from systemic injustice and inequality. Religious institutions, too, can play a role in reinforcing cultural hegemony. In many societies, religion has been used to justify existing social hierarchies, such as patriarchy, slavery, and class divisions. By presenting the social order as divinely ordained or morally justified, religious institutions can suppress dissent and foster acceptance of oppressive systems. Cultural hegemony is not just about external control, but also about internalizing oppressive values. Through mechanisms like the media, family structures, the education system, etc., individuals come to see their own subjugation as natural or inevitable. This internalization of power dynamics creates what we refer to as self-policing, where individuals and communities regulate their own behaviour in accordance with societal norms, often without realising the extent to which these norms serve the interests of the ruling class. For example, the idea that certain people are deserving of wealth while others are not, or that hierarchy and authority are necessary for societal order, becomes ingrained in everyday life. This leads to widespread apathy, compliance, and a lack of resistance. It's not simply that people are unaware of their oppression, they may even come to see it as their fault or as part of the so called natural order of things. We anarchists view this internalized oppression as one of the most insidious aspects of cultural hegemony. For us anarchists, the fight against cultural hegemony is central to the project of liberation. While direct political or economic resistance is important, we believe that to truly overthrow systems of oppression, society must also confront the cultural and ideological norms that underpin these systems. The fight against cultural hegemony involves both recognizing how deeply entrenched power structures influence our thoughts and behaviors and actively working to dismantle these influences. We anarchists advocate for the creation of counter-hegemonic cultures, alternative structures of meaning, value, and social organization that challenge dominant ideologies. This can take many forms, from reclaiming media spaces to creating autonomous educational structures to engaging in direct action that disrupts the status quo. By building communities that practice solidarity, mutual aid, and principles of equality, revolt, and liberation, we anarchists aim to create spaces where truly alternative ways of living and thinking can thrive. One example of this resistance is the anarchist emphasis on autonomous, decentralized decision making. In contrast to the top down authority of traditional state or corporate structures, we advocate for organizational structures that are non hierarchical, where everyone has an equal voice. Such practices can help create a culture of autonomy where individuals begin to understand their capacity to challenge and reshape the world around them. In addition, we anarchists often reject traditional notions of work and consumption, seeing them as integral parts of the capitalist system that perpetuates cultural hegemony. Instead, we focus on creating economies based on mutual aid, cooperation, and shared resources, disrupting the profit driven mindset that is promoted by the dominant culture. Cultural hegemony is a concept that is deeply relevant to anarchist thought. It illustrates how power is maintained not only through laws and through force, but also through the control of culture, ideas, and social norms. We anarchists believe that to have a chance of achieving true liberation, it is necessary to challenge and dismantle the dominant cultural narratives that sustain systems of oppression. By building alternative cultures, questioning ideologies of the status quo, and fostering autonomy, we aim to create a world where individuals are free to shape their lives without the constraints imposed by hierarchical authority. Thank you for listening, everyone. All the best.